Taurus, August 26th. August 26th. He's learning French. I tried meditating last night, and it was nice to just be grateful and just to be grateful that I'm here and experiencing here, being here. And I just got back. I had to move my car this morning at 8, so it was a little earlier than what I'm used to. And so I left early, knowing that I was going to go to Land's End Trail, and wanting to do that hike, and wanting to, because the last time that I went, I stayed in the parking lot like the whole time and listened to Damian Wood, I believe his name is. Their name is Damian Wood. I want to say it was Damian Wood. And Dorian Wood, and just listening to their music and writing poetry. So I hadn't been back since, and I knew I had to move my car, so I was like, well, let me get there a little earlier, maybe work out, right? 'Cause, I think the last time I worked out was probably Monday when I did that hike. And it was nice because I took a different route, and the sun was coming up, and I was just realizing that I hadn't seen this space with the sun out. It's always been cloudy and with the overcast, and so to see the trail and to be in the forest and be by the beach and see the Golden Gate Bridge with the sun was pretty extraordinary. And that's kind of been the theme this week, actually, with these adventures that I've been taking, where I've been there before, but I've been distracted or had a goal, and so I didn't pay attention as much. And then now that I'm doing it again, more things are standing out, right? Things that I didn't pick up the first time. And so I'm just taking it all in and just seeing how the sun is hitting certain flowers, and you know, the water changing colors, and the warmth on my face as I'm cold at the same time, and just realizing that I'm in between two worlds. Two of my favorite places, right? I enjoy camping, I enjoy being in the forest, and I enjoy the beach. And so to have a little bit of both on that trail was really, really a nice treat. And I got lost with certain routes, and purposefully lost, and seeing where I came out and then finding my way back. So that was nice too. And this whole time I'm thinking about, what am I going to do? You know, I've committed to only working 24 hours a week, right? And assuming that once my schedule gets booked, because it's not there yet, it's a slow, gradual process, apparently. And so I'm like, okay, so I have all this extra time, and I'm like, okay, you know, I know I have things that I need to do, in the sense of just organizing myself a little bit more. But yesterday was just one of those days where I was just like laying out, like, and it was cold. I figured out how to use the heater, but just still, like, it felt like a lazy Sunday yesterday, being Wednesday. And knowing, I'm like, well, I don't want to spend my days like this, right? I don't want to spend my days just watching TV. I never liked that feeling from the beginning. So I was thinking about that. as I was exploring Land's End's trail a little bit more on my own, and seeing that, if you want to volunteer, for the forest, you can call this number, and then it just dawned on me, I'm like, maybe I should do volunteer work. And I mentioned this before, but part of me was wanting to wait until work was set up before I jumped into something else, mostly because I don't know how it's going to affect me. And, I need a livelihood and to survive. So that's kind of a priority. And knowing the situation that I'm in, we're at the end of August, and I'm just like, okay, how am I gonna make it through this little hump till more of the dough starts coming in, right? And so until I start working more consistently. So of course, I mentioned I reached out for help, and I reached out to my dad, which was weird, to be honest, because it's usually the other way around. It's been like that for a while, the other way around, and so to have to reach out is weird for me, but it felt nice at the same time. It felt nice and balanced, and to know that he was in a position to be able to help me, I think, I was new for me. Not I mean, growing up, he provided a stable, as best as he could, a stable household, and until we were like 14. So I'm appreciative of that, and he gave us experiences that I'll forever be grateful. And then I was thinking about that as I was hiking through the trail, and realizing that, he was the one that took us camping, and he was the one who exposed us to different things that he wasn't exposed to, that he wanted to gift his family. And to a certain degree, we weren't grateful, and to a certain degree, we pushed it away. And now, and of course, everything in retrospect, right? You're grateful for the people, and your parents. And I remember he would order National Geographic's the magazine, and it would come home, and I loved that was like I loved looking at that magazine, and just wondering about these other worlds and these other cultures. And had he not done that, I don't think I would have, that desire to travel would have been there, and so I'm grateful to him for that. And I was thinking about him on the way there, and just walking, and being grateful that he's able to help me out a little bit. And I told him, Dad, as soon as I get my bearings back in, I'll pay you back, right? It's I know I have the ability to do that, right? So just, taking it all in. And then, on the trail, there's these posts that have like information on the view that you're looking at, or important people that, environmentalists who had a big part of just the support, and making sure that these places remain open for the public, and reading their stories, and just wondering about how there's people in the world, right, that have this ingrained knowing that that's what they want to do, and that's where their passion is, or you have people that are activists, right, on each end of the spectrum, and that there's this desire within them, and knowing that that's where they're supposed to be on each end of the spectrum. And I'm walking, and I'm just like, still asking myself, like, where's my place? Like, still, like, knowing that I'm closer, right? Knowing that this just being here feels aligned. Like, that I know. It feels right. But then now what? And that's been my question these past few days. Like, now what? And where I've discovered that I enjoy poetry, and writing, and again, like, these passions that have been coming out, and I wrote another poem. And I had written another poem last week, I had written another poem for the activists, for the people that came before me, for the family members that have come before me, right? For my family, for my parents. And to acknowledge their esfuerzos, you know, their struggles, and their part in creating this opportunity, this ability for me and for other people like me to be able to go to different places without being discriminated, you know, with to be able to study what we want to study, right? So without them, we wouldn't have the ability to do a lot of the things that in their time was more challenging. I remember my dad saying he was discriminated against for the color of his skin, for being Mexican, for being Chicano, right? And that thought came to my mind again as I was walking. I'm just like, you know, I've been told I look Lebanese. When I was younger, I had darker skin, but that's because we walked everywhere, and I had you know, darker skin and then reddish hair, blonde, like a light brown reddish hair, and being called Wera when I was, you know, my mom's family would call me Wera, and I remember when I was younger and I'd go to TJ, like there was this sense of like, oh, you Americans, just like, okay, like clearly, you know, I'm different because I live in a different country. And then and just realizing this whole time as I'm walking that, wow, I looked different growing up. Like if you look at my pictures growing up, I don't, like, it's hard to see. It's hard to see that that's me. Like, yeah. And then something interesting happened. So I get to the edge of I was gonna pop a squat. I was just gonna sit down and start writing because I had this inspiration to write. And there's this Asian family that's coming towards me, and there's this little, maybe a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old, because he was toddling, and I don't have my mask on. I usually put it here just in case there's people that wear it. I put it up out of respect, right, for them. But I usually, if there's no one around me, I don't wear it completely. And so I didn't have it on, and I'm approaching the bench, and this little boy is toddling toward, he sees me, his face lights up, and he's walking towards me, smiling as if he knows me. And I'm just smiling back, and I sit down, and then there's this look on his face, and then the words that come out of his mouth, mama. I'm just like, I'm like, oh, hi, just, you know, engage. And he's like, mama. And then there's this desire for him to come towards me, and the dad is like holding him back. He's like, no, mom's back there. I thought that was the most loveliest thing, and it threw me off a little bit because it was unexpected, right? And made me smile. And you know, I'm sure that there must have been some like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, like, I'm like, he thinks I'm his mom. There's something about me, right, about my features, that he like, there was this awareness almost in his expression. There was this knowing of who I was. That's what it felt like in that moment. And I just smiled. I'm taking it in, and but it was just a lovely expression to see an experience with this 1.5-year-old. And then he gets distracted. They give him water, he gets distracted. But it was just really interesting to see his expression and his face light up when he saw me, and then determined that I was his mom until they redirected him. And then that triggered a memory that one of my pictures growing up, I have a few actually, where I look Asian. I look like an Asian baby. And then even my ex would tell me that in certain pictures where I'm really smiling because I have full cheeks, he said, you look Asian in these pictures because of my eyes, I guess. But it triggered that in me of just, you look at my pictures, right? And I look Asian when I was like a baby, like a 1-year-old. There's this picture, this image of a picture that I have, and I texted my sister. I was just like, can you see if my mom has this picture? Because I didn't bring my box of memorabilia, but now I want to go look at it. I want to go look at these pictures and see how I look, and then this awareness, right, that, you know, I've been told I look Lebanese, that I don't look Mexican. It's, you know, just a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. And then I know too, there's certain pictures where I look different in different angles. So anyways, that was an interesting experience. But still, right, with this idea of like, how am I going to spend the rest of the time that I have, and where do I want to volunteer my time? Where am I being pulled towards? And I'm struggling a little bit with that, because I still don't know. I still don't know. You know, it's this realization that you have when the world, not that the world stopped telling you what to do, but when you stop listening to what the world is telling you to do, and you're trying to let your heart guide you to find the road that's the most aligned with you. That's where I'm at. I know I'm getting closer. And then it was funny because I was having that thought in my head and I'm listening to music, and one of the songs that I was listening to, as soon as I was done with that thought, like I know I'm close, and the lyric says, you're closer than you think. That's what the lyrics was saying. I was just like, oh, okay. So there was this sense of like, okay, just be in the moment. And then coincidentally, MJ's morning message spoke to it. It spoke to the importance of continuing to develop your sense of self, your own individual tastes and interests. And she talks about how in relationships, when you don't know that, or have that time to explore that and solidify that for yourself, you find these couples that end up being so enmeshed that then things get boring. And that makes sense to me. So I'll include that link for today if you're interested in listening to it. But I'll end it at that. I'm close. I'm close, but not there yet. But closer than I think. So, yeah. So when I meditated last night, I didn't see any waves. Didn't see any waves. We'll see what happens next. Bye. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be be vulnerable, you know, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and you know, we'll see what else comes next for me. So take care.